Hello, friends and family of Second Presbyterian Church. Every year about this time, there's a little part of me that becomes a little bit curmudgeonly, a little bit sad. I don't know how to explain it. I know what it is. I'm lamenting that we seem to skip over Thanksgiving every year. And it just seems that Thanksgiving is lost as we move quickly from Halloween right into Christmas season. You know how it goes. You take down the Halloween candy and replace it with Christmas candy. The artificial trees are up. The decorations are up. All the ads for Black Friday are coming up. All those kind of things to encourage us to buy for Christmas. And in the midst of all that, Thanksgiving simply gets overlooked. For years I've wondered why. Now, my cynical side says it's because we simply have not learned how to monetize Thanksgiving, how to make a buck off of it. I mean, we don't give Thanksgiving gifts to each other, and there's not many cards that are sent out at Thanksgiving time. There's just not a lot of money to be made. So the advertising culture largely ignores Thanksgiving except for the parade with a department store's name on it, and then pushing us to buy things for Christmas for our loved ones. You know, I can remember the time, I'm old enough to remember, that we did not see decorations go up before Thanksgiving. We would not put up a tree before Thanksgiving. So I hate to be cynical, but truth is, I'm just lamenting the loss of Thanksgiving in our culture. We do not seem to be a very thankful culture these days. I do think of all the songs I learned in elementary school. We made all those crafts that weren't very pretty. I can remember when many churches had a Thanksgiving service on Wednesday, and many communities had Thanksgiving services. And my own home church for a few years had a Thanksgiving service on Thanksgiving morning. We would have a breakfast together, and then we'd gather for worship, and we'd sing the Thanksgiving songs. It felt so good just to gather with our church family. But as you know, over the years, the Thanksgiving services, even the community ones, began to dwindle in numbers of people who would come, so that now they don't even seem to exist in many communities. And I don't take that to be a very good sign for our society or our communities. I hope we have not become a bunch of people who think we are self-made and we are entitled to what we have. I miss the focus on Thanksgiving that corrects all that. You know, growing up on Thanksgiving, we weren't thinking about what we wanted for Christmas or dreaming of what we would get for Christmas. We gave focus on what we already had. And we acknowledged that God is the giver of all good gifts, and lest we had forgotten it, we would remember it. And the focus was on God, the gracious giver of life and blessings and all that is good. And we gave thanks to God not only for the blessings, but for seeing us through the hard times as well. We were reminded of the stories of the pilgrims who lost so many people and had a hard year as they settled into this land. And then the following year, when the harvest was better, they knew to be thankful. I don't know about you, but as I think about the past 2 or 3 years, they've often been hard years. And when I stop and think about it, there is a lot to be thankful for. And truth is, my hardships and my sufferings just pale in comparison to what I see on the news. I see the people suffering in the war from Ukraine, no power or water in many places. I see the images of people in hunger, deep hunger in Africa. I watch the images of refugees looking for a new home. They're looking for safety for their families as they escape oppression. So compared with most of the world, I am blessed indeed. And I am also reminded as I look at those images and think about it, that I have been blessed by God in order to be a blessing. While prayers and songs of gratitude surely are welcomed by God, and they are good for our souls, it seems to me thankful souls are even more joyful souls when we begin to share those blessings. I think God especially finds joy when we share our blessings with others. Blessed to be a blessing, as they say. God is the one, after all, from whom all blessings flow, and they often flow through God's people to be a blessing to others. I've certainly seen how these blessings flow through the life of Second Presbyterian. You have been blessed with so many people in this church, and through so many people this church has blessed others, both the people who gather here as members and regular attenders, and those that you reach out to into the community through your many outreach programs. As I think about this year with you, I give thanks to God for you, and I will continue to give thanks to God for you. And the friendships and the relationships that I've found about being with you this year. This is indeed a house where God's love dwells. God's grace dwells here. I hope you will remember all that as you prepare to dedicate your estimate of giving commitments this Sunday. I hope everyone will participate as a sign of your gratitude to God, your thanksgiving to God, and your desire to share your blessings with other people through the life of this church. My scripture this week has a prayer from David. You know, David was famous for writing those many psalms, especially psalms of thanksgiving to God. And in our scripture this week, we hear David offer another prayer that's for the day of dedication. He is dedicating the gifts that people have given to build the temple, the first temple, the house where God's love dwells. So I want to offer you David's prayer as a prayer of thanksgiving for us during this season. It certainly applies to all of our lives. Praise be to you, Lord, the God of our father Israel, from everlasting to everlasting. Yours, Lord, is the greatness and power and the glory and the majesty and the splendor. For everything in heaven and earth is yours. Yours is the kingdom, as you are exalted as head over all. Wealth and honor come from you. You are the ruler of all things. In your hands are strength and power to exalt and give strength to all. Now, our God, we give you thanks, and we praise your glorious name. May this season of the year, especially this season of the year, may God find his children to be grateful children. Imagine the joy that must bring to the heart of our generous and loving God. May God continue to bless us so that we can be a blessing as we offer our thanksgiving to God. Happy Thanksgiving.